contenders in this tournament will be going up against a very young but very hungry squad in Malaysia.
Oh, they're coming off a victory against Malaysia yesterday. Well, the games today, Vietnam losing to Thailand. What we're gonna see in the next few minutes are former champions. Malaysia won it in 2005 and way back in 1994, while Indonesia won it in 1996. You are correct. These are the two teams that could give Gilas a little scare.
Of course, with Indonesia, you have some familiar names. Mario Wuisang, at 38 years old, continues to anchor the Indonesian national squad. And of course, their team, half of the national team members have played in the IBL. So you know they're coming up with their best lineup today. But first, let's take a look at the team standings. Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines with the early lead in the standings, while Singapore, Malaysia, Myanmar, and Vietnam have yet to catch up, and they need to do so. Of course, just a few days in this tournament, you play a game every day. And for the teams today, talking about Indonesia and Malaysia. For Indonesia, they want to score back-to-back wins in a hurry. For Malaysia, they want to put the game yesterday behind them, where they actually led for most of the way, Coach Ryan, but then again, that's a challenge for a young squad, closing games out.
But they lost steam in the end. They failed to shoot well from the three-point area in the first two quarters. They were shooting accurately, and then for some reason they just got tired. They missed a lot of shots in the end, and eventually they lost. While on the other hand, this Indonesia team was pretty much in sync yesterday, going up against Singapore. They were never threatened from the opening tip up to the end, and eventually they won by 21 points.
Of course, Indonesia bring back some of their veterans like Pratama, Sitorius, Grahita, and Wuisang, of course, the captain of that squad. On the other side, we've talked about this. Malaysia, they are missing 4 of their best players in this national squad lineup. But like what I mentioned yesterday, because I covered their game yesterday, Coach Ryan, they have players who have been training here in the Philippines, who have been competing here in the Philippines. And, you know, it's just a matter of time. They're knocking at that door in terms of development.
Oh, yes. And, of course, there were times when a Filipino coach was coaching their Philippine national team. So that is why we're going to see a lot of influence. And it's not just Indonesia, of course, Malaysia, we've got Filipino coaches there too. And it is just the influence and the respect that they have for Filipino coaches. That is why we're pretty much gonna see a lot of Philippine brand of play with these two teams playing today.
Of course, the Philippines setting the bar in terms of Southeast Asian basketball. Before we break that down, let's all say silent for a minute for the national anthems of both teams.
Please remain standing for the national anthem of Malaysia.
Both teams are just about ready to plunge into Seaba basketball action here inside the Smart Araneta Coliseum. It is an honor and a privilege for us to be bringing you this game of the 2017 Seaba Championship held here in Manila. As we take a look at our Supreme Court of Basketball, Mr. Zheng Yu from Taipei, our very own Mr. Arnolfo Bermeo from the Philippines, and Mr. Chuen Wing Leong from Singapore. And speaking of Singapore, like you mentioned, Coach Ryan really had a tough time against the veteran Mario Wisang, who scored in double digits. Like you mentioned, the influence of the Philippines. A lot of our Filipino ballers have actually played overseas and have played in Indonesia. And next to the Philippines, of course, Indonesia, this is a team that plays with a lot of physicality, and they're bringing two of their big guys in Sitoros and Sitepu, two of the tallest players who are old school ballers. They play back to the basket, they clang and bang inside and look for high percentage shots.
But they have a lot of tall players here in their roster. At least 4 players are standing above 6'5". So in terms of height and that vertical positive things for their team compared to Malaysia, they might have an advantage there in that department. So I expect this team to control the boards, get a lot of rebounds, and get scores off second chance opportunities.
They hardly missed the absence of Arki Wisnu and their naturalized player Jamar Johnson in their conquest of Singapore. They won at 71-50. Like what we mentioned, Mario Wisang at the forefront, leading them with 20 points, built on 6 of 7 3-point shooting. And speaking of 3-point shooting, that was the main weapon of Malaysia yesterday against Thailand. A lot of people were actually surprised that they took an early lead against a traditional Southeast Asian basketball powerhouse in Thailand, which just proves that this team can hang with the best of them.
Well, in the game of basketball, it's not really how you start. It's nice to have that jackrabbit start, but it's how you finish the game. So they lost him in the end. They lost their chances because they could not hit their mark from the outside. If there's one thing that we expect them to do again, because they don't have a relatively big roster, they're going to shoot from the outside. They're going to force Indonesia to challenge them and take shots from the outside. If they don't make it, their chances of winning are definitely minimized.
Tulad dun nabanggit mo, Coach Ryan, they don't have a lot of size. At isa sa mga naging problema nila in the second half was the foul trouble of their big guy, Chan Kektai. Early in the fourth, nag-foul out na siya agad, and that proved to be a problem because they could not handle si Sukdabe Gogar, sina Klahan, Patimhan Klahan, who really ruled the boards, and they got multiple second shot opportunities. In the game of basketball, there's this old saying, Coach Ryan, and I've heard you say this many times, no rebounds, no wins.
Oh yes, and height is still might, and that's exactly the reason why they lost that game yesterday, because there was no man on offense, no one man who can score on a high percentage basket. If your shots are not falling in from the outside, the natural tendency of the team is just go deep, go inside, and hopefully score on a higher percentage shot. But without that big man on offense, they had a hard time scoring. Not only that, on defense, they failed to protect the paint. So that is how important the guy playing the center position is for this team, Malaysia, who's again not really parading a lot of big players in their roster.
Let's see if the young legs of the Malaysian national team can run and gun. Kontra naman dito sa Indonesia national team na merong isang veteranong leader tulad ni Mario Wisang, merong mga seasoned big men tulad ni Cristiano Ronaldo, Sitepu, and Difta Pratama. That's actually a very interesting name, Cristiano Ronaldo Sitepu. I checked the age, Coach Ryan, pero hindi, mas bata siya. Mas matanda siya kay Cristiano Ronaldo. I was wondering if his parents got the inspiration from the famous football player.
That's right, and we've been talking about Wisang since the top of our coverage, and he is also a veteran of the ABL.
Yes.
I used to watch him. I'm not sure if he's still active this year, but definitely he's got the experience. While on the other side, ito namang Malaysia, a lot of young players in the roster. I'm not sure if they're able to get a naturalized Malaysian to play for them, but as far I'm seeing the roster right now, halos pare-pareho ng itsura yan. At we'll see if they can compete against Indonesia. Again, in their first game, Malaysia dropped their first game. While on the other side, ito namang Indonesia is coming off a victory. You know how cutthroat our tournament format is. Walang semifinals, walang finals. After the end of the games in this round, whoever has the best record will win the championship.
And here we go, first quarter underway from inside the Smart Araneta Coliseum, and the taller Indonesian national squad controlling the opening tip. They go immediately down low, kick out Grahita. This guy is a gunner. You know he can shoot from the outside, but showing us that he can take it inside on a slashing move.
First basket here for Indonesia. That interior defense must be more solid for Malaysia. You force Indonesia to take shots from the outside because, again, they have this bigger roster. Expect them to lord it over inside the paint.
Pull-up jumper, short for Heng. And you can see Malaysia trying to be scrappier. Coach Ryan kontra nga dito sa mas malaki front line.
You have to assess the situation. If you are Indonesia, of course, you feel like you have that height advantage and that vertical advantage because of your length. So if you're Malaysia, you cannot simply rely on your height, so you have to be a little more active. So good job there by number 24 to force a jump ball, and this is their second crack at the basket.
7 left to shoot para sa Malaysia. Ong inside a Chan. Short jumper, no friendly bounce. And it's a foul on Anthony Liu.
And that is where experience will come into play. I thought Chan could have dribbled one more step in closer to the basket. He was wide open, but unfortunately he took that easy shot. And as a result, he missed it. An inadvertent finger there. And foul will be called against Malaysia, but umupo na muna, Seaba.
Si Kevin Sitor is their tallest player. And on the floor right now. Still a very tall lineup para dito sa Indonesia. Firman Nugroho is now on the floor. Offensive foul for Indonesia. Again, if you're a bigger team, minsan may danger ko. Try namang gigil ka eh. Lalo na kung alam mong may physical advantage ka against your opponent.
Well, first you have to calibrate your strength. You know that they're taller and they're much stronger than the opponent. And it is okay. In the opening minutes of the first quarter, try how the refs are going to call it, then adjust along the way.
Ong trying to get away from Wei Sang. Almost got an end one, but will shoot free throws.
Nice activity once again by Malaysia. They're just working so hard. They're getting all the 50-50 balls, and that is why they have another chance here to score. They have yet to score in the ball game. Indonesia scored the first basket at 2 points, and now a chance for Malaysia to enter the scoring column.
And they do, thanks to that free throw brought to you by Smart. And this is a welcome sight, Coach Ryan, kasi free throws kahapon, fourth quarter. Dumating yung kanilang unang attempts, talking about Malaysia.
And that only goes to show that they really fall in love with the outside shot. So if you're not attacking the basket, you don't give the opportunity for the referees to call a foul. But here, I think that's the adjustment that they did after they lost yesterday. They're attacking strong. All their shots are coming inside the paint. Kaya forced din itong Indonesia to play defense against them.
Well, Indonesia unable to score in the last 2 trips.
Very flat start here for Indonesia in the last 3 possessions. They turned the ball over 2 times, and now they have to play defense.
Now swings it over to Chan. That sweet shooting center para sa Malaysia. Heng, catch and shoot. Just lets it fly. Offline that time. Not a cover ni Ong. Balik sa labas. 5 left to shoot para sa Indonesia. Look at how Indonesia is playing the defensive. No clear driving lanes para dito sa Malaysia.
Oh, they did a good job there stepping on that baseline. When somebody is attacking on that side of the court, all you have to do is step on that baseline. He's got no operating space that will force your opponent to turn the ball over.
9 left to shoot now para sa Indonesia. Wei Sang in the low block against a smaller Heng. He is immediately double teamed. Malaysia showing a lot of fight on defense, then they get a stop.
A fantastic double team there, forcing Wisan to turn the ball over. Defensive end of things, Malaysia is doing such a tremendous job.
They want to go to the low block. Anthony Liu. Liu spins, no room to shoot. Chan lets it fly for three. Compared to their performance in the first quarter yesterday, Malaysia still trying to hit the mark from downtown, and there's a foul as they try to deny Mario Muisang.
Oh, they're getting the shots off. Unfortunately, hindi po pumapasok ang kanilang mga tira, but bad news once again. Two big fouls for Malaysia there. Itong si Liao natawagan na ng dalawang sunod. It's a quick hand by their head coach to give him a rest.
And Mario Muisang is just looking so steady. Nagsimula maglaro ito si Mario Muisang for Indonesia. Probably most of the players of the Malaysian national team weren't even holding a basketball yet. So para si Muisang, para si relax ng bata.
Oh, well, there's definitely a legend there sa bansang Indonesia. He is 38 years old, and in their game against Singapore, he top scored with 20 points. And what about the shooting from the three? 6 out of 7. So you look at him, you know that he's taking care of his body. Dahil kondisyon na kondisyon, he's still quick. Yep. He has not lost a step, but more importantly, he's still accurate from the three.
No second chance opportunities for Malaysia. Here comes Indonesia trying to score on the break. Rahita waits for more fence. Catch and shoot, Pratama, right side, no. I expected this, Coach Ryan. Lalo na sa ilalim. Indonesia and Malaysia will be physical.
They have their heated rivalry, especially in the game of football.
Oh.
Talagang ibang klase pag naglaban itong dalawang to. Very physical, very emotional. They're so passionate about the sport, and it is very safe to say that football is actually the #1 sport in their respective countries.
And that three-point shot brought to you by PLDT Home Fiber. Upgrade the home's most powerful broadband.
So what is basketball to us is actually football to them.
Yeah.
Second sport lang nila itong basketball, and a lot of international big shots, not just in football but also badminton. Yan talaga ang magagaling na sport nitong bansang ito.
Like all the other sports you excel at. You're free play. Open shot again. But couldn't go back-to-back from downtown. Ito si Heng nagpapadali on the break against a veteran Mario Muisang. But couldn't score that time. Pratama against two defenders. And turns it over.
Now, if you're Malaysia, you'd be happy with the way you're playing defense, because in as much as you're struggling from the field, the score is just 5-2. And the reason being is they're sprinting down on defense, they're forcing a lot of turnovers, they're contesting all the shots, and they're just fighting for every loose ball. Now, on offense, they just have to have direction. Kulang na kulang yung kanilang napupuntahan. Kaya hindi pa sila nakakascore ng marami dito sa ating first quarter.
5-2. Indonesia advantage. 5 minuto natitira sa unang yugto.
Very impressive ball handling skills there by Theo. He was able to cut through that double teaming scheme by Indonesia, and he was able to fish for a foul.
Yes, si Theo Kokhu. Coach Ryan, part yan ng Westport's Malaysia Dragons na nag-champion sa ABL.
Very familiar. Some of the faces playing here in Seaba, napapanood ko sa TV.
Right on cue. Theo making them pay, slashing and dashing. And Malaysia within one. Oh, they get them back.
It's all about execution and finding your strength. They were just passing the ball outside, and that forced the defense to also rush out, but they also have that quickness advantage, and that is why they're able to pounce on that and get easy 3 points.
There's Alvin Ang, misses, and a strong rebound there. Grahita this time from the left side, staring down his defender. Oh, right foot crossover. Balik sa labas, si Tepu faking, shooting, but couldn't score. Tough rebound inside para sa Indonesia. Open shot this time, Grahita. Gonna knock it down. And finally a stop para sa Malaysia.
Oh, the shots are wide open. They're just failing to hit it on a consistent basis, and that is why they're giving Malaysia a chance once again to inch in. They're down by 3 points at this point.
Inside pass to Mac, stolen away. Good defense there by Kurniawan. Malaysia immediately back, protecting the transition.
Yeah, you have to give credit, at least on the effort department. If you are Malaysia, you just have to sprint back on defense, because for some reason Indonesia is having a hard time scoring consistently on their half-court sets. But this is going to be trouble for them. Allow Indonesia to get steals and score on fast breaks. That will be very advantageous for that team. Again, we've talked about it. They have the height advantage. All they need to do right now is to get a lot of easy points via fast break opportunities.
Speaking of fast break, it's Abraham Grahita who scored all the points so far para sa Indonesia.
9 points, leading all scorers here, and it's pretty much like 1 against 5 here. Let's see if he's gonna score again in this possession.
Never shy. Challenge there. Pero balik sa Indonesia bola. Lakudu telling the troops to settle down. Tepu swings it over to the right side. Kurniawan now inside pass. Jumper wouldn't fall. So aside from Grahita, no other Indonesian player has really scored here. Would that be a cause of concern, Coach Ryan, with 2 minutes remaining here in the first?
Well, the big guys are just expected really to play defense and get defensive rebounds, and probably score a basket or two inside the paint. Let's see if that big man can score. Still nothing there aside from Grahita. It might be a cause of concern, because what if Grahita goes to the bench?
Right now, like right now.
So who's going to score? Yes.
Let's see how Indonesia responds as Abraham Grahita will now be taking a breather.
Bakit kilala mo na lahat?
Nag-homework ako, Coach Rai. Nag-homework ako. Alam mo naman ako.
Ako pa number lang eh.
Finally, someone knocks it down. Another three-pointer. And that three-point shot brought to you by PLDT Home Fiber. Upgrade home's most powerful broadband.
Somebody will just step up, step on the line when his name is called. He just has to take his shots and take it confidently. Yun ang nangyari sa Indonesia nung nawala yung kanilang leading scorer. Masyadong nag-open up naman yung opportunities for the others to score.
They want to fix their spacing. Lakudu to the other side. Kurniawan couldn't control it.
I like that play. Every time somebody penetrates, you attract the defense and make that pass out. Sayang lang hindi nasalo. Pero it's a good basketball play because it really motivates you to play unselfish kind of play. It's the hardest thing to guard in basketball, and what is that? Every time you penetrate, the open man gets the ball.
Oh, Ting dancing with Kurniawan. And a reach and foul. I think it's going to be on Antara Prastawa.
His first foul, 14 foul for Indonesia.
Indonesia up now, 12-4. Dahil doon sa hot shooting ni Abraham Grahita kanina. Touch on Kurniawan.
This is a very young Malaysian squad that we're seeing here.
Everyone under the age of 23.
Yes, and pretty much like Myanmar yesterday, but it's different because the average age of Myanmar is 20, and the oldest player in their roster is 23.
Wow.
And they were beaten badly by Gilas Pilipinas by 107.
Wow. Well, again, Alain Maliksi did say that it's us showing respect to the game and to the opponent.
That is how you should play the game, regardless of the opposition. You just play the same way as how you play top teams, and that is how Gilas Pilipinas displayed their basketball brilliance in that game yesterday.
A little color developing here, as Chu wanted to protect the basketball from Prastawa.
And there's no problem with that kind of a move because you always want to protect that basketball. And you imagine 10 guys fighting for one ball, 20 hands. As soon as you get that ball, you have to protect it with your dear life. So kung ganun may mga swing, but as long as walang matamaan doon, it is a good basketball play.
This free throw brought to you by Smart. Chu Wei Hong actually hit a couple of three-pointers yesterday. Goes 2 for 2 on that trip from the stripe. Wala nang isang minuto natitira sa first quarter.
A little change up here. Every time they score a basket from the free throw line, they try to delay the offense of Indonesia by doing a certain press.
Oh, but Lakudu, easy two inside.
That's a fantastic penetration there. Hindi niya ininda yung depensa ng Malaysia ron. And Indonesia up by 8 points, tying their biggest lead in the ball game.
Yun yung advantage, Coach Ryan, na naglalaro ka sa professional. Nasanay ka na doon sa ganong klase ng banggaan, pag gumamit ka ng screens, pag sinusubukan ka ng off balance, you can take it and still finish.
And scoring against taller defenders, yun ang advantage mo if you're playing at a higher level basketball tournament.
That last hit by Cornyawan will not go. So at the end of the first 10 minutes of action, it is Indonesia taking a 14-6 advantage thanks to the early scoring of Abraham Grahita as they take the lead. And we have more basketball action coming up in the second.